Hey guys, welcome to Digit.in, and in classic Google style, Google is back with a bang. They've announced not one but two Nexus smartphones, the Nexus 5X and the Nexus 6P. The Nexus 5X is a successor to the LG Nexus 5, and it's of course made by LG, whereas the Nexus 6P is made by Huawei and is the higher end phone. We have the new prices for the two smartphones, and according to Google's online store, the Nexus 5X is going to be priced at $31,900 for the 16GB variant, and the Nexus 6P will be priced at $39,999 for the 32GB variant. Now, to put things into perspective, the phone that's been creating a lot of buzz in India is the OnePlus 2, and the Sandstone Black 64GB version is available for $24,999 in India, but you need an invite for that. We don't have a release date for the new Nexus smartphones, but they are coming soon to India. So we thought we'd give you a quick look at the specifications of all these three smartphones and how they stand out. So let's actually get started with the display. Now, the OnePlus 2 has a 5.5-inch 1080p display, whereas the Nexus 5X has a 5.2-inch 1080p display. And the Nexus 6P has a 5.7-inch 2K display. That's a resolution of 2560 by 1440. So yes, the Nexus 6P has a display that compares with the likes of Samsung's high-end S6, S6 Edge smartphones. But the Nexus 5X also has a great display. We've seen the Nexus 5 sport a 1080p display on a smaller size. So the 5.2-inch display is for those that don't want a really big smartphone. Now, another thing that the OnePlus 2 brought with it was a fingerprint sensor, and both the Nexus smartphones have a fingerprint sensor at the back. It's quite conveniently located, as you can see in the picture of the smartphone here. And Google says that you can unlock the phone in under 1 second if you use the fingerprint sensor. Of course, being a Nexus smartphone, it's going to run on the latest Android Marshmallow operating system, whereas the OnePlus 2 runs on Android 5.1 Lollipop. Moving on to the internals, we have the OnePlus 2 that's running on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 810 chipset, and we have the similar insides for the Nexus 6P. The Nexus 5X, on the other hand, has the Snapdragon 808. The chipsets are still great. The internal hardwares are great so far. The Nexus 5X has 2GB of RAM, whereas the Nexus 6P has 3GB of RAM. Coming to the OnePlus 2, the 16GB variant has 3GB of RAM, and the 64GB variant has 4GB of RAM. So we will see some multitasking and performance edge with the OnePlus 2, but that's something we'll comment on when we actually get the smartphones in for review. Now, if you're someone who likes clicking a lot of pictures on your smartphone, in the past the Nexus phones have been criticized for not having a great camera. Both the Nexus smartphones that were announced last night have a 12-megapixel rear camera, and at the event, Google actually compared them to the iPhones. Yeah, so Google is pretty much touting the fact that these smartphones have a great camera. Coming to the OnePlus 2, it has a 13-megapixel camera, and we've seen that it has a pretty great quality when it comes to the images. Now, the OnePlus 2 has a 5-megapixel front-facing camera, which is the same for the Nexus 5X, but the Nexus 6P has an 8-megapixel front-facing camera, so all you selfie lovers are also sorted. Now that we've gotten the hardware out of the way, one of the last things we have to talk about is the battery. Now, the OnePlus 2 has a 3300 mAh battery, which is great considering the package on offer. The Nexus 5X, considering its smaller form factor, has a 2700 mAh battery, but the Nexus 6P, now keep in mind that it has a 2K display and is running a higher end processor, and it has a 3450 mAh battery, which is of course the largest of the three. Again, we'll comment on the battery life once we actually have the phones in for review. Now, the OnePlus 2 was the first phone to bring in USB Type-C, but it didn't have fast charging. Both the new Nexus smartphones sport USB Type-C and support fast charging. So if you're someone who's in a rush, you can charge the smartphone to a respectable amount in a short duration of time, a feature that we really do miss in the OnePlus 2. But yes, it is present with the two new Nexus smartphones. Coming to the build and design, of course, the OnePlus 2 has its sandstone back. It maintains the best of the OnePlus 1 with adding a few new features. It was a little thicker than the OnePlus 1, but the OnePlus 2 had a good form factor overall. The Nexus 5X stays true to tradition of the original Nexus 5 that was launched by LG. So if you're someone that's using a Nexus 5, you will feel at home with the design of the 5X. Of course, the biggest addition is the fingerprint sensor at the back, and of course the camera. Now coming to the Nexus 6P, it's made by Huawei and the design is very premium. One thing that we like to talk about is the camera is protruding at the back, and this isn't the first time that we've seen a camera protrude at the back of a smartphone, and I think we're going to have to live with it. How cases and other accessories will handle this is something we'll see when they are available in the market. Once again, to reiterate the prices, the OnePlus 2 is available for $24,999 for the 64GB version. That means the one that comes with 4GB of RAM, whereas the two Nexus smartphones, the 5X and the 6P, are priced at $31,900 and $39,999 respectively. And you can stay tuned as we will bring you an in-depth review of both the smartphones as soon as we get our hands on them. So what did you think? Do you like the two new Nexus smartphones that were launched by Google? Has Google finally recaptured the Nexus market that was there with the Nexus 4, 5, and which dipped with the Nexus 6? You can always let us know in the comment section below. We'll see you soon in another video of Digit. Thanks for tuning in.